Happening tonight in South suburban Dalton, a much-awaited report from former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. She's expected to release findings from her investigation into corruption claims surrounding Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. NBC5's Regina Waldrop is live in Dalton tonight with what's expected to be a pretty tense meeting. Regina?
Stephen, Lightfoot launched this probe in April. For the first time tonight, she's expected to talk about the findings, and this room filling up fast with residents who are here for it. Now, Lightfoot just made her way into the room here at the Dalton Park District. Right now, she is talking to residents who are here. The former mayor and federal prosecutor was hired by 4 village trustees to investigate Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's spending habits. During her 3-year tenure, Henyard has faced numerous allegations of corruption, reckless spending, and retaliation. Henyard's also the focus of a number of lawsuits and federal probes. Lightfoot is said to have also looked into a controversial taxpayer-funded economic development trip to Las Vegas last year. Mayor Henyard was on that trip along with a handful of village representatives and her former assistant. That former assistant claimed while on that trip she was assaulted by a Dalton trustee and later fired. She's filed a civil lawsuit against Henyard and the trustee, accusing him of assault and Henyard of retaliation. The Department of Human Rights is now investigating. Now, we did reach out to the Henyard administration for a comment, but we have yet to hear back. This meeting gets underway at 6:30, and we'll have a live report coming up tonight after the Olympics. I'm live in Dalton. Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Look forward to your report at 10. Thank you, Regina.
We have a lot more news to talk about tonight. Where did the money go in Dalton? That's the question former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot was hired to answer. And for the first time tonight, she revealed some of her preliminary results of her investigation into questionable spending by Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. NBC5's Regina Waldrop has been covering this story from the very start and is live tonight in Dalton with some of those startling findings. Regina?
Stephen, there were a lot of gasps from residents who were listening to this presentation, and I talked to several people after, and they said they knew things were bad, but they did not expect this. In Dalton tonight, a packed room for a long-awaited presentation on the village's financial crisis. Former Chicago Mayor and federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot discussing her initial findings of an investigation into the spending habits of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her administration. Some of the key findings: no annual report or audit since 2021. The general fund for day-to-day operations in the red with $3.65 million. Police department expenditures up 21%, with 2 officers paid more in overtime pay than regular pay. As of June 18th, 589 checks totaling more than $6 million approved but not sent to vendors. 6 different credit cards with receipts rarely provided, and purchases under investigation, including $40,000 in charges to Amazon.
You may hear a number of things in the coming days. But what I can assure you is the information that we have shared, that we're putting our names on, is drawn directly from the financial records of this village.
I knew we were broke, and the way she broke it down and just let the other residents hear what was really going on, because Tiffany Henyard always talk about fake news, and this is real.
Henyard is also the focus of a number of federal probes and lawsuits. Lightfoot says her administration did not cooperate with this investigation. Now, we did reach out to the Henyard administration for a statement, but have yet to hear back. As for next steps, well, Lightfoot said this investigation not over. There's still a lot of work to be done out here. Some other developments tonight: the board recently approved a change to the village's credit card policy, and the acting police chief was placed on leave Monday. They say he has now been terminated. There's a plan for a hiring freeze and layoffs, and also the board says the locks at Village Hall have been changed. That means elected officials out here can no longer use their Village Hall. Of course, there's so much happening out here, and we will continue to stay out here and follow this developing story. I'm live in Dalton tonight. Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Regina, thank you.
Another big story we're following this morning: the outrage and the shock in South suburban Dalton last night during a packed meeting. That's where residents started to learn the scope of the village's financial problems.
NBC5's Jen Schatz joins us now live in studio to explain how even more issues can come to light Certainly a possibility. Now, the person leading this investigation, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who's also a federal prosecutor, says this investigation is not over yet. What she did find so far led to gasps from some residents. Things like $40,000 worth of Amazon purchases using the village's credit cards, which rarely had receipts provided. Take a look. This was the packed room in Dalton last night where Lightfoot presented those initial findings into the spending habits of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her administration. Lightfoot's findings showed there's been no annual report of audits for the village since 2021. The general fund, which covers day-to-day operations, has been steadily declining and is now in the red to the tune of $3.65 million. Police expenditures were up 21%, and since 2022, the village's average monthly expenditures are up nearly 30%. And as of June 18th, 589 checks totaling more than $6 million were approved, but they weren't sent to vendors. All of this while Henyard is the focus of a number of lawsuits and federal probes. According to Lightfoot, her administration did not cooperate with this investigation.
I know how I felt when I started seeing these numbers. So I can imagine how all of you are feeling after all this time being in the dark. And I just want to let you know that this isn't just a job. This isn't just some task. We feel this. And so we have worked very, very diligently, very hard under difficult circumstances to get as much information as we could to share with you.
The village board did recently approve a change to the village's credit card policy. The acting police chief was placed on leave Monday and has since been terminated. There's also now a plan in place of a hiring freeze and layoffs. NBC5 has reached out to Henyard for a statement on all of this. We've yet to hear back. And on top of this, the village board says locks at Village Hall have been changed for at least the third time. That means elected officials don't have access. Still a lot of chaos, a lot of unanswered questions here, and potentially more figures to be sorted out, something we will be following very closely. Evrod, Michelle?
We want to highlight a couple of credit card purchases. You're having the same reaction that we did when we saw that. So in particular, we were very concerned to see the top 3 purchases that were highlighted for you that were booked on January 5th of 2023. That's roughly $40,000, a little more than that, in credit card purchases on Amazon in the same day. And our understanding is that the village does not have an Amazon account. These are somebody using one of the credit cards and charging these amounts using your tax dollars. We suspect we're going to see, as you can see, expenditures at Target, Walgreens, Best Buy, a number of charges that raise questions in our mind. Are these legitimate purchases using the credit card? What we've also found in the credit cards, I know that there's been a lot of interest in travel, and we are highlighting here on this slide some of the travel that is reflected in the